What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, lady, and the chef, joined by my mom.
Deeperlocks 21 evening.
Good evening. How you doing today? I know you say you have a little headache.
Yeah, so I guess most of it's gonna be on you. I mean, I do have a headache, but I'm gonna fight through it because I have some things to say, good and bad.
I was gonna ask if the headache was triggered by the Knicks, because
Par- Partially, but no, it was an ongoing thing all day today.
yeah, those are the worst. Well, the Knicks played a back to back against Cleveland, who we beat last year in the playoffs. So we played them Tuesday, won the game. Played them again yesterday at the Garden, lost the game. Are there any takeaways that you got between or differences, that you saw between game one versus yesterday's game?
Yeah, there was some major differences. Well, one, they had a full roster on Tuesday. Um, they had their team. RJ did play game one, and let's face it, he's a vital key, you know, to their offense. Um, they did, they scored, and it seemed like they ran their offense a lot smoother and better game one, um, compared to game two. It just got away from them. But
Yeah,
game one, there was a nice little blowout for them. All bet they did win at Cleveland. Um, Jalen, he was back, because he was
yeah,
struggling. Um, he shot pretty good. It was kind of not lopsided, but we did beat them in field goals and everything as far as percentage wise.
mhm.
Our free throws, we were, 80. We shot a lot better.
Yeah.
Um,
The Knicks were 80% from the free throw line. Cleveland was 75%, so that's still pretty high. We have
yeah,
48 rebounds. They have 46. The Knicks were 38% from the 3-point line. Cleveland was only 26%. And field goal percentage, the Knicks was at 44% and Cleveland was at 39%. And this is
yeah,
for the first game of the back to back on
yeah.
Tuesday.
Hmm.
So, do you think that RJ being out in yesterday's game would have made a difference for the Knicks?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, you think that the Knicks would have won yesterday's game had RJ possibly been playing in that game? You think that there would have been a higher chance that the Knicks would have won that game?
Yeah, because the 5 games that they played, I looked up the stats. He's shooting like 45.3% just for those 5 games. Randall is struggling mightily, and we'll touch on that. Um, everybody else seems to be in the 40s.
Mhm.
And he's 27.7%. That is not great. It's unacceptable, for the offense, for a guy that made the All-Star. He seemed to be regressing back, and granted, it's just game 5, and he's just struggling. So I truly believe, yeah, RJ would have made a major difference. Because let's face it, he's he's that missing key, that from yesterday's game. Um, you know, at this moment, he is the best player when you look at the scheme of things. So yeah, it was he was missed.
Yeah,
What's your takeaway?
I think that Brunson needed some help and we needed
Yeah.
another scorer, and taken away from game one versus game two. The only other guy that was really stepping up in game two, yesterday's game of the back to back, was Quickly. And Quickly kind of kept us in that game in the third quarter and the fourth quarter along with
Yeah.
Brunson, Whereas a lot of what I saw with Randall in game two was Randall was being very hesitant on the 3 point line and not taking those threes, which was very strange to me. But my
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
is, we discussed this on the last podcast episode. It's like if you're not gonna shoot the three, do other things that you're good at. Drive. And
yeah,
I didn't see Randall taking advantage of doing that. And I don't know. I just found that really weird. Randall in game one, he had 19 points, and in
yeah.
two, he only had 6 points.
And yeah,
So
he had 19 points and 10 rebounds.
right,
So how did he get away from that? You
I
know,
think it was a lot of hesitation. That I don't know if because you can't say Cleveland was doing this amazing defense on him. That wasn't the case. I think it was more so Randall just was in his head. And,
yeah.
he was playing this game of hesitation. I saw a lot of pass off passes. He was passing to like Brunson or Quickly or other guys. And to me, they weren't, not that they weren't bad passes, but I was almost like, well, why didn't you try to take it yourself? Because drive and maybe try to draw that attention and get that foul, maybe go
Hmm.
for the and one or go for that,
Yeah.
fade away shot. And he wasn't doing that. He was like, oh, here you go. And I just didn't understand why he was doing that. So again, like a lot of Knicks fans, I'm not panicking like yourself. But I think if we get to 15 games in and Randall's still struggling, we have a little bit of concern,
Yeah.
to kind of put under our belts because you can't say, well, oh, he'll kick it in after the All-Star break. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
still possible. And don't get me wrong, maybe he will have these sporadic moments and then maybe he'll turn it on in the playoffs.
Hmm.
Last season, the last couple of seasons, Randall's played great throughout the regular season and in the playoffs, especially last year when we need him to show up, he disappeared.
Yeah.
His
I'm
pre-ankle injury, he disappeared.
yeah.
Let's keep it
Well,
let's keep it 100.
but that's what they're saying. A lot of the sportscasters, the announcers, they're saying, the surgery, the ankle. Well, then say that then, because if you're playing not at 100%, you're a liability. You
Yeah,
know, and you need to be an asset to the team. Yeah, you do the little things, and but we need scoring more than anything. I mean, because he is, you know, although he's struggling, he's a pivotal part for
agree.
just like RJ. Until he figures it out, and get on the same page, the Knicks aren't going to go too far. I'm just
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
it's funny because I heard Steph speaking about that. She said if the Knicks shooting continues at this pace, the Knicks aren't going to go far as a team, and I agree.
yeah,
If
for
you play
sure.
like this, you won't even make the playoffs. And
Yeah.
at this rate, the East is a very good conference, and I think that the Knicks, you need consistent scoring and shooting. I mean, I don't aside from Quickly, RJ, and Brunson, you really don't have nobody else on the Knicks team that's contributing scoring wise. Dante DiVincenzo in yesterday's game did have 16 points.
Mhm.
Quickly had 18 points. Josh Hart had 11 points, 8 rebounds. And Mitchell
Yeah.
Robinson had a monstrous game on the boards with
Oh man.
16 rebounds and 6 points.
Yeah,
And
and yeah, 8 of those were offense and offensive rebounds, and the other 8 were defensive rebounds, which is what we need Mitch to continue to do. You
agreed.
know, so that was a huge help for us.
I thought both Mitch and I thought Hartenstein did a really good job on the boards.
Yeah.
Hartenstein a lot of times was like tipping the ball either in the basket or grabbing a
Mhm.
rebound. He also was like in between his man and the ball. He was able a few times to get those steals, those breakaway steals when we played
Yeah.
like yesterday's game. So I
Mhm.
thought they did a great job, but again, alluding to like I heard Steph say this, Hartenstein and Mitch are getting those second, third chance opportunities, but then you other guys have don't know what to do with it. You can't even make the ball in the basket.
Yeah,
So if you guys the shooting isn't there as a team, then that's a concern. That's a problem. You guys have to
yeah.
knock down shots.
That's what I said. Like, it's no need to panic, but if they continue to play at this pace, it's alarming, and there's some concern that need to be raised. The panic button don't need to be pressed. It's still early. Right? Then they're not playing as a cohesive unit. And there's definitely no sense of urgency with them. But again, this is just game 5. It would have been nice had they won that game, because now they're playing the playing tournament tomorrow with Milwaukee. So that would have kind of given them like a boost, and they could still win. Because at any given night is anybody's game.
Yeah.
No game is guaranteed for one team to win before that first tip off. So again, it's anybody's game tomorrow. Milwaukee, Dame he's kind of, you know, struggling somewhat, but it would have just been nice if they had got that win under their belt, going into the playing tournament.
Do you feel like the shooting was there, or was that a problem in game two versus game one? Do you feel like the shooting was something that was a bit more on, or do you think it was other things that the Knicks could have changed at yesterday's game that would have made, because they didn't get blown out. And again, kudos to
Mhm.
Quickly and Brunson for keeping them in the game, because we brought it down and got it close. But,
Yeah, yeah.
but do you think it was the shooting that was an issue, or was it other things that you could point out that was an issue?
Well, definitely the shooting was an issue, and at the 3 point, you can't go 5 for 30.
Yeah,
That's like I said. I will continue to say, you live by the three, you die by the three. And if the 3 point is not working, and we say it all the time, switch it up. Um, the shooting, and again, Randall being in a slump. Um, Grimes, we didn't even touch on him, but you know, he's in the backcourt, like, and Grimes is struggling too.
yeah, he
I
is.
mean, yeah,
I
he
told
does.
you, DiVincenzo's gonna take that spot.
Yeah, well,
That's
hey,
the line. I agree. You said it. If Grimes continues to struggle, DiVincenzo is gonna take his spot.
yeah. I mean, and so when Brunson needs some help, you
Yeah,
know. So the scoring, that was, a pivotal issue. Um, Otherwise than that, yeah, the free throws, although what was the free throws is six, 67%, and they were 95. Only reason why they were 95, we took more, but they made, more. So,
exactly.
but that's an issue. They're free, so you can't continue to shoot like that and win games.
Yeah,
Those things, they matter, and it helps you to win games.
right.
Um,
So, what do you think that the Knicks need to carry over for Friday's game against Milwaukee? Milwaukee's a really good team. Damian Lillard can shoot the three from
mhm.
literally the other end of the court. And then you have Antetokounmpo, Kempo, who Giannis is very multidimensional as far as his
Yeah.
game, because he can do a little bit of everything. So my thing is, we know it's going to be defense, but what do the Knicks need to do to basically make sure that one, it's not a blowout, and the Knicks can actually contend with them throughout the game on Friday?
Well, that's to me, it's gonna be hard because we don't have length, and that's another thing. Like, we lack, like, length. you know, our guys, they're not the tallest and the biggest, and sometimes they're not the strongest. So sometimes when you lack those things, you got to make up for other things like your quickness and things like that. I think they're gonna, have to get out, defend. You always say perimeter. We don't have any perimeter shooters, so what do you do?
No.
And things like that. Let's hope. I'm hoping I didn't see this the report about if RJ is back. That would help us. You know, the, the turnovers. Things like that. The sloppy plays. Just tighten up your defense. Things like that. What's your take on for tomorrow's game?
I think that for one, the Knicks need to make their focus on defense first.
Yeah.
I think that you know, the Knicks to me, even if they try to go in a zone or they try to do man to man, the Knicks as a whole, they're just not a great defensive team. And, you know, Tibbs is one of those guys that he's big on defense, but the Knicks just don't, the guys don't move their feet. They sometimes
Yeah.
are a step too slow. They fall.
Hmm.
A lot of times when you have guys on these other opposing teams who have a nice handle, the Knicks fall for a lot of those simple crossovers that I'm seeing guys do. If Donovan Mitchell did a couple of nice moves like that, and he caught a few guys. He caught DiVincenzo. I think he caught Brunson. And the Knicks have to learn how to really close out. But I think also just rebounding. Don't get out rebounding because Giannis is gonna make sure he gets his rebounds. So
Then you
Mitch is
got.
going to have to make sure Mitch has to
Mhm.
figure out when he's playing those centers who could shoot from the three.
Yeah.
What do you do? Because he's stepping out. And I saw where he comes up to help. To me, you shouldn't have to come up to help unless it's in a die-hard situation. And in certain situations, you should come up and help. But I think otherwise, you should be guarding down low because what happens is that guy that has the ball, now he's going to dump it down low, and now they have
Hmm.
an easy layup. All because Mitch or Hartenstein steps up closer to the 3-point line, and that hurts them at the end. So I think that the
Yeah.
defense is definitely going to be crucial for the Knicks. Protecting the ball, you can't afford to have a ton of turnovers. I think that also just making sure they're playing smarter, but also playing hard and hustling,
Yeah. Yeah.
themselves. But you got to guard Dame. If I would try to limit his ball touches as much as possible, same thing with
Hmm.
Giannis. You need to front face him, put your hand out, make sure he's not getting that ball, and put a body on these guys.
Hmm.
They can shoot the three ball well, and they're gonna want to run. So I think that it's a lot of definitely heavy focus on the defensive end for sure.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah. But I feel like the Knicks entering this tournament, and again, it's still early, but it's like, are the Knicks really ready? We spoke about with Grimes, and I asked you, but is Grimes really ready? They have no choice but to be ready. But the Knicks don't seem like they're ready. Almost seem like they needed another month or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before the season
Hmm.
started to get ready. That the way they're playing is almost like they're not like, oh, they need a little bit, almost like you were studying for a test and you're like, damn, I'm not ready for that test tomorrow. But you ain't got no choice. You got to take. That's where I'm feeling like with the Knicks, like they still needed some more time. I don't know if guys were still in vacation mode. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And again, maybe it's just because it's still early and there's those jitters that is in the beginning,
Oh yeah.
that teams have. And I don't think it's nervous jitters, but I just think it's stuff that the Knicks as a whole need to just figure out. And the same thing
Hmm.
with Randall. I think he needs to figure out his game and get back to the way he was playing and how we know he can play.
Yeah. And that's just it. I mean, if he's struggling, then again, say that, but then then who's filling that void? Hart started in the place of RJ yesterday. Um, I guess these, it's a done deal. But these are moments that again, Obi could have filled in. You know, you
But
know.
forget even Obi. This is the moments where I feel like Grimes should be stepping up.
Oh, for
Josh
sure.
Hart should be stepping up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
Like,
Yeah, because
I mean, and then granted, McBride doesn't get a lot of minutes, but hell, even you need to step up and do what you need
yeah.
to do. But these are the moments where if you have an injury from your key players like your RJ's, Brunson, Randall, the second unit guys need to step up. And Josh Hart is a pass first kind of player, and I applaud the selfishness, but we need you to also shoot and drive.
Yeah.
Sometimes he passes a little bit too much. He overpasses. If you
Yeah,
ask
yes,
me, my
yeah.
opinion, he overpasses and he gives up
Mhm.
opportunities. And I'm like, well, why didn't you just take that? You trying to make an extra pass for what? And I know Steph had mentioned how shout out to BX Chris. She was at the game last night with them.
Oh,
So
shout
she
out.
had mentioned how there was a play in yesterday's game where DiVincenzo had the ball, so he was standing behind the 3-point line on like the right side of the court on whatever end they were.
Mhm.
Julius Randle set the screen, but Julius didn't roll towards the basket. So DiVincenzo threw him the ball, but the ball, it went like, not that it was a hard pass, but he threw it like almost where Randall should have been going.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
Randall just stopped on the screen. And I saw that play because I was
Yeah.
listening to the podcast today at work and I rewatched the replay and I said, oh, I see what she was referring to.
Mhm.
Here's the thing, that's a minor mistake. But in that situation, Randall was in the wrong because you should have rolled your butt to the basket. Dante comes from high energy, high IQ playing NBA playing teams, Milwaukee and the Warriors. These teams do those little things like those
Yeah.
rolling, that guy who's setting the screen knows to roll his butt
Mhm.
to the basket and get there because the ball's going to be there and he's going to go meet the pass there. He has a very high IQ of basketball coming from those teams and playing with players. He also is an excellent defensive player. His
Oh
defense
yeah,
is
yeah.
great.
No, he is. Yeah.
I was like, wow, this guy moves his feet really well. But again, he comes from being used to playing in these high energy games that he could handle the pressure and just being able to take the lead on passes and things like that. Where I think maybe it may take him and Brunson telling these other guys, you know what I mean? Like, you got to take over because if Randall's not
Mhm.
going to do it, we're going to need somebody else to step up and want to do it. And it doesn't
Right.
necessarily take a veteran to do it, but it just takes guys coming from that experience because Brunson has every right to say something too. The Mavs is one of those teams that those guys know how to do that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you need those guys who in practices to be like, yo, if I'm standing here, whether we running a play or not, you need to be rolling to the basket. You just staying
Yeah.
there, and he didn't even roll. It was he didn't just he set a nice screen, but then he just kind of like backed away, and then Randall looked at him and was like, "Yo," and DiVincenzo was like telling him like, "Yo, you should have rolled to the basket." This is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. When y'all in practice, are y'all not talking about these
Mhm.
things? Like, yo, when I'm standing there, or that goes for whoever, whether it's Mitch Hartenstein, you a big roll to the basket.
Basket. Yeah. I don't see a lot of that though with the Knicks.
No,
And I get it, mate. That's not their style of play. I get it. But if it's there, utilize it.
see, but here's my issue though. It may not be your style of play, but what y'all was doing wasn't working. It's a new
Yeah.
day.
Well.
It's a new season. It's a new year. You gotta try, and it sucks because as much as I like Tibbs, he's stuck in that old school
Yeah.
style of
Mhm.
coaching
Let
and
me.
play that
I was gonna pick
he's
up
not.
state.
You putting him on the camera. He's
Yeah.
not one of those guys that he's gonna try that more up tempo pace because the Knicks, when they try to go up tempo, it's causing mistakes. So maybe they need
Yeah.
to go
It's
back to the slow
costly. Yeah.
pace. But even if you're
Mhm.
playing slow pace, you got to be able to like add those little things in, whether you roll into the basket, setting a solid screen. The screens look good, maybe because they ain't tired yet. You haven't played enough games. Mitch Robinson screens look good.
Oh yeah.
Isaiah Hartenstein's screens look great.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would like to see the Knicks, as a team. I think it goes back to what you're saying. It's the cohesion that's missing there.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't gotten it, yeah, and I know they will, but these guys practice enough. Um, you got to take that into a real game. You know, what you guys do, bring it to the court. So, and that's what when I say cohesion, I mean, I know they'll get there,
Yeah.
and but there's no sense of urgency, for oh, this is just game five, it's a slow start, and they say Randall tends to get off to a slow start. Okay, but yeah, then you got the costly mistakes that you're causing, you know. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, we RJ gets off to slow starts too. But I
Yeah.
think it's that if you're coming off to a slow start, you have to do the other intangibles to make up for your slow start or your shooting percentage just not being there. I think it's key that you do the other little things on a
Hmm.
floor and also just be a leader. You know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
saying that he's not. I'm just saying that you have to be able to do those other little things that make up for, what you're not being able to do as far as producing shots. So I'm gonna tell you one thing though. On Friday, we can't afford for anybody being hesitant, whether
Yeah.
that's Hart, Randall. We don't have time for that because Milwaukee's gonna come out on fire. And I feel like with this tournament starting, I don't want the Knicks to put a lot of pressure on themselves with this tournament, but make a statement early. I said that before. Make a statement early. Don't let teams
Yeah.
feel like they're just going to get an easy win over you or this is going to be real
Hmm.
easy. The Knicks will probably have to pull the plug early in the fourth because they're getting blown out so bad. Like, make your mark early and let teams know that it's not going to be an easy win over us. You're going to have to really come
Yeah.
through with adversity and really come hard against
And,
us
and and
because
and and earn that W.
right, we're going to
You
challenge you.
know.
So I really want the Knicks to really be able to like prove that, you know, you could handle yourselves against these better teams. You got to be able to beat Boston. You got to be able to beat the Warriors. You have to be able to beat your Milwaukee Bucks.
The
Your
Denver Nuggets. Things.
Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
They're beatable. You
yeah,
know.
every team is beatable. But the Knicks also have to learn how to win at home. That's another issue that they have. We don't win a lot of games at the Garden.
Yeah. Protect. Yeah.
And as much money as people are paying for those tickets, stop it. You got to
Hmm.
win games at home too. We appreciate you winning on the road, but and even against teams that I feel like that we should be beating, like Detroit's, Orlando's, Charlotte's, Atlanta. You got to beat those teams also.
Yeah. Because
You can't let
those are young teams, and they're hungry. These
right,
cats, they run. You gotta be
right.
able to run with them.
Yeah, you should be beating those teams, your Houston's, and being able to get that W against them. But I hope we get RJ back because we definitely need him. RJ likes to drive. I like that about his game.
Yeah.
His 3-point shot looks a lot better. He looks a lot more comfortable shooting the three in the mid range. So I definitely
Hmm.
want to be able to see him back playing on tomorrow's game. Are they playing at home or are they playing in Milwaukee? Do you know?
Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Now they're playing Milwaukee 7 o'clock, 7:30.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. It'll be a good game. And then I think the Knicks don't play again. So
And then they play Monday. Clippers.
and the Clippers now have Harden. So
Oh yeah, he's gonna be back.
and he's back with Westbrook, so they play well together. And then they have the Spurs on Wednesday, which a lot of people are gonna definitely be watching that game too, because I really
Yeah.
want to see how the Knicks handle Wembayana, because
Oh,
this
for
guy is
sure.
good, and for him to be so tall and handling the ball like he's a guard, and it's not forced. I don't feel like he's trying to show off like,
No.
get me, I know how to handle the ball. It's just very smooth. He
Mm-hmm.
rebounds well, he
Yeah.
defends well, he
Yep.
hustles up and down the court. I mean, man, if only we could have gotten a player like him,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
yeah,
But
that's true.
did you notice Mitch in yesterday's game? He dribbled, put the ball on the floor, dribbled, and went to go like he didn't try to dunk it, but you know how when players they so tall they just like drop it in the hoop
Oh
and climb.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, he was like, folks, we never seen Mitch do that before. He said he put the ball on the floor. I was a little nervous though because I said Mitch looked like he really was practicing that move so he don't travel.
Maybe Mitch hurt the fans, and he needs to add something to his repertoire of playing.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
Mitch should have did that in the off season.
he's
Don't
playing
do
good
that
so
now.
far.
No,
I
he
mean,
is.
he's off to an awesome start. His free throws. That's Mitch. Mitch is never gonna be past what 57. 60%.
I mean,
You take what.
keep it at 50 for me and I'll be happy. 50,
Yeah,
fifty
you
five
you, you
percent
take
and I'm
what you could get
right.
from Mitch as far as the free throws, but as far as the rebounding and doing the other little things, he's off to an awesome start. Him, RJ, Brunson seemed to find his legs. Um,
Quickly too.
Quickly, DiVincenzo, even Hartstein. He's rebounds. He didn't score, but he did the other little things, and he
Yeah.
didn't force it.
Him
He
and
was
Mitchell
over
help
two.
keeping the possessions alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He didn't force the plays. You know, there's no need to panic again. Like I said, the season's young. It's just started, but we just need Randall to figure it out because he's a pivotal piece to that puzzle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's like
because
the X factor.
that's a lot of points you're losing out on with Randall being
Yeah,
out.
yep.
That's 20 to
Hmm.
25 points essentially a game.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you only giving us six, that's a problem. Six is not gonna cut it.
yeah,
And then having RJ out in yesterday's game, that's those are some pivotal points, like you said, that
yeah. That
we
hurt
could have
us.
really used. Yeah. And unfortunately, I hate when sometimes that pressure falls on like that one or two guys where it's like Quickly and Brunson working their butts off on the court to try to keep us
Hmm.
in the game. And
Yeah,
Quickly, to me, he's gonna make sure he's consistent this season because Quickly knows teams are looking at him and he's going to
mm,
be out of here, out of New York. So Quickly is going to make sure he's on his A1. And I know he, like a lot of guys, was working on his game, but he's going to make sure he's showing up and that his stats is looking right because other teams are
yeah,
going to be looking to acquire him once the season is over. So
yeah,
I just
for
think that
sure.
the Knicks, we just need, to me, we need like shooters. We need guys who can get the ball in the basket, and that seems
Yeah,
to be a problem for the Knicks that we just can't. Because even like against Cleveland, both games, Donovan Mitchell kept them in the game.
he did.
He kept
Oh
them in the
yeah,
game. He could hit that 3-point shot, but it's like, this is what I mean. Whether it's him or somebody else, what you gonna do against Dame? You gotta guard these guys.
yeah. He Yesterday's game, he pretty much imposed his will, on the Knicks. I mean, he wasn't doing the flashy things like that, but like you said, he kept them in for both game one and two,
Mhm.
and he's like, I'm not going down without a fight, and that's essentially
Exactly.
what he did. He did Mitchell things, where he stepped up, he was hitting the three. He was great for him for the
Yeah.
most, you know.
I'm curious to see what happens with this play-in tournament. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll be tuned into tomorrow's game. I want to see what the Knicks are gonna do. You know, I mean, I want to see what they're gonna do every game, but I think who knows? Maybe there'll be a big shift. The Knicks know it's a playing tournament, and they'll make turn it up and make things happen. So I just think that
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe Julius needs to call another team dinner meeting, and they need to talk about things and get it together. So we'll see though. So I'll be staying tuned to that game, and yeah. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm sorry it's a short one, but no. No, I'm gonna be watching tomorrow as well. We're both diehard fans, so I'm definitely excited to and again see what they do and see how that playing tournament works in their favor.
Yeah,
So
same.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll be tuned in. I know tonight, Queen's Court comes on at I don't know if they're coming on at 8:30 or if they're coming on at 9 or 9:30, but the Queen's Court comes on. I know Ron from Still Knicks fan. Shout out to Ron. Ron is also doing. I believe he did a 6:30 show, and I think he's on another one at I don't know if it's 8:30, but he's going on. And then
Oh, okay.
Sim, I don't think Sim's gonna do a show because he drove all the way back from Legends to Maryland, so that's like a 4.5 hour drive for him. So
Ooh.
and he coaches, so I don't think he's doing a show, but maybe he'll join in on Steph's show. And also Tony from Knicks and Bruises is also going on tonight. So Thursdays is a pretty hot lineup because there's some good shows that's coming on. So um, yeah, but we'll definitely be back giving our take on tomorrow's game. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And like always, subscribe, like, leave us a comment. I'm reading all the comments. I'm getting back to you. Please leave us a comment because I like going back and forth
We
and hearing what
appreciate it.
everybody has to say. Exactly. We appreciate the love. Shout out to Steph um, for shouting us out, promoting our channel. We appreciate it. And yeah, go next.
Let's go Knicks.
All right. Peace, everybody.
Good night.